It's 1999, I'm 21 years old. I've been interested in Buddhism for about a year, and the form that interest has taken is going to the culture library, getting out books on Buddhism. Some I finish, some I don't, some I get a library fine for, I must admit. And during this exploration, I come across a book called the Lotus Sutra. I've not read a traditional Buddhist text before, and I get this book out, and I've never encountered anything like it before in my life. I read it cover to cover. I don't get a library fine. But it's this, I discover this portal into this vast universe, encompassing unimaginable distances in space and periods of time, at the centre of which the Buddha is communicating this transcendental vision of human potential. And there were two chapters in particular that I was affected by. The first is the one that contains the parable of the burning house, and in that I was presented with a mirror reflecting back to me so much that I didn't want to look at, I couldn't look at, but there it was, staring me in the face. And the second chapter that I was particularly affected by was the one on the hearer of the cries of the world, Avalokitesvara. And in this chapter, I encountered this outstretched hand enabling all beings to traverse this vast gulf between the sobering vision of the burning house and the vision of human potential that the Buddha's communicating. In a way, I would say that was, with the burning house, well, yeah, you had dukkha, and with Avalokitesvara you had Shraddha. It was, between those two, it was an invitation onto the spiral path. And fast forward 44 years, do the maths, and early this year, on a solitary retreat, I decided to revisit the Lotus Sutra, and I took that translation that I first read all those years ago with me. And every day on that solitary retreat, I would recite a chapter 2 to 3 times a day from the Lotus Sutra in front of the shrine. And that had, it just had a very big effect. So I decided to carry on. And every morning before meditation, since then I've continued to recite in front of my shrine from the White Lotus Sutra, working through different translations. And in this process, I've realised that the Lotus Sutra is not just a book, it's not just a text. It's something much more than that. It's a world, it's a whole world in and of itself, and its invitation into that world. With a lot of Buddhist texts, the content is the conceptual formulations of the Dharma, particularly with the early texts, but quite a few later ones as well. And the context is, doesn't feature as much as this definite Dharmic content. With the Lotus Sutra, the context is the content, the medium is the message, this whole world, this whole vision of growth and transformation, of human potential. I mean, it's incredible. Everyone gets a prediction to enlightenment. Devadatta gets a prediction to enlightenment. There is no one is a lost cause. And I've realised with this as well that just as the Lotus Sutra isn't just a book, isn't just a text, so Padmaloka isn't just a group of buildings. Many of you will know that Padmaloka means the lotus realm, the lotus world. And just as the Lotus Sutra is a world, a lotus world, so Padmaloka is too. Padmaloka is likewise a place of growth and transformation, albeit on a slightly less elevated level. But in a way, Padmaloka, it's a thin place. It's a thin place where the veil that separates us from that visionary world is thin, and we can get a glimpse into it. And out of all this, one of the things we decided to do is to theme next year's programme, the 2024 programme, around the Lotus Sutra. And that really, it perfumes the whole thing. It's just full of quotes from the Lotus Sutra. And I'm very glad to have a copy of the programme in my hand. We've got a whole group of volunteers who've been packaging it up, ready to send it out to everyone. And yes, I'd just like to express my thanks to them. And with it, it is an invitation, just as the Lotus Sutra is an invitation into a world of growth and transformation. So the Padmaloka program is an invitation into a world of growth and transformation. And I hope you, if you're in a position to, can accept that invitation. And just to give you a little glimpse into it, I'll just leave you with a quote from the section of the Hero of the Cries of the World, Avalokitesvara, from the White Lotus Sutra. If living beings encounter weariness or peril, immeasurable suffering pressing them down, the power of Avalokitesvara's wonderful wisdom can save them from the sufferings of the world. He is endowed with transcendental powers and widely practices the expedient means of wisdom. Throughout the lands and the 10 directions, there is no region where he does not manifest himself. In many different kinds of evil circumstances, in the realms of hell, hungry spirits or beasts, the sufferings of birth, old age, sickness and death, all these he bit by bit wipes out. He of the true gaze, the pure gaze, the gaze of great and encompassing wisdom, the gaze of pity, the gaze of compassion. Constantly we implore him, constantly look up in reverence. His pure light, free of blemish, is a sun of wisdom dispelling all darknesses. He can quell the wind and fire of misfortune, and everywhere bring light to the world. The precepts from his compassionate body shake us like thunder. The wonder of his pitying mind is like a great cloud. He sends down the sweet dew, the Dharma rain, to quench the flames of earthly desires. When lawsuits bring you before the officials, when terrified in the midst of an army, think on the power of Avalokitesvara, and hatred in all its forms will be dispelled. Wonderful sound, perceiver of the world sounds, Brahma's sound, the sea tide sound. They surpass these sounds of the world. Therefore you should constantly think on them, from thought to thought, never entertaining doubt.